Hello again, everyone. My name is Kevin Ayers, and welcome to my videos regarding my unemployment experiences. So far in this series, we have discussed a higher level overview of my unemployment brainstorming, considered the basic stages of loss and the concept of ambiguous loss, how meaning can be derived from your employment, creating your story about unemployment that you share with others, the 3 suggestions I have for taking action when you feel overwhelmed, the travel path, and most recently about the non-negotiables, which are those things that would prevent you from pursuing employment with an employer. If you haven't seen the other videos yet, that's okay. You don't have to watch them in order, so stay where you are, sit down and get comfortable and check this one out. If you like it, then check out the other videos and give me some feedback. Hopefully the videos keep getting better every week, mostly because of the feedback you have given, and I do appreciate that. And before I start, I'm going to let you know that outside this window, there's a lot of construction going on. So if you hear some metal clanking and tractors, that's what's happening back there. This week's quote comes from Ian Ziering. Just think Sharknado. He said, quote, "Like every audition I go on, I do my best, but after that, I let it go. Because the rejection rate is so great in Hollywood, and I can only control what I do in the audition. After that, it's up to somebody else." End quote. I have worked in high volume retail sales in some sort of direct or indirect sales position for most of my career. One good thing that grew out of that line of work was getting used to rejection. Even in an environment where the customer was actively pursuing the business, the products and the services that were available in a big box retailer environment, you would also get the customers that were just kicking the tires and not really wanting to buy anything. They were just wanting to see what was available and had no real interest in making a purchase. Both of these types of customers were considered a marketing success. Just getting them in the door could potentially lead to a sale, and it was our job to close that sale. Part of the job was asking the basic, the exploring and the narrowing questions to determine the customer's readiness and willingness to make a purchase that day. And it was my job as a manager to connect employees with customers in order to help the customers discover their known and their unknown unmet needs while connecting the products and accessories and services that we had to fulfill those needs. If the customer decided to reject the offer in part or in whole, we had still done our job. When one suffered rejection, it was time to move on to the next and possibly come around back to check up on the customer that maybe had some additional questions while they were waiting. Unemployment is more like door-to-door sales or maybe even cold calling, which I've done a little bit in my life. Or maybe according to Ian Ziering, it would be like an actor's audition. I've not done that, so I don't know. I always try to talk to the salesperson when they do come by and knock on my door. If I accidentally answer their call, I try to turn the situation around on them because I have my own questions, especially about their success rate in the neighborhood or over the phone, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment. In a similar way, unemployment is an exercise in getting used to rejection, a lot of rejection actually. It's not like that you like rejection or trying to seek it out. Give me a second helping of that rejection, please. But you are at the mercy of those on the other side of the desk or the phone or the email. So you have to become mentally prepared for rejection. Get prepared for a lot of rejection. It has been said that you will experience 99% rejection with 1% of success in your job searches. So how does one get used to the rejection without resignation or becoming embittered? It must be stated that at the onset, you will not get rejected if you don't even try, rejecting yourself by yourself. Just have to address that and get it out of the way at the very beginning, but that's not what we're after here. You have to make an effort, and the more effort you put forth, the more that feeling of rejection can come back at you. The more effort you put into it, the more you need to be prepared to not let the rejection crush you. You do not know which submission of application will return to you with good news. If you don't even try, so that's not an option. What hurts is finding out later on that someone else maybe earned a job because you neglected or failed to ask for it. You didn't, What hurts more is putting in the right amount of effort into your job search and the application process and not making that final cut. I had one employer that had to choose between me and one other candidate. Knowing I had made it that far without getting the job was indeed difficult. Um, Another difficulty is attempting to switch industries with a lack of industry knowledge or certifications. It brings a greater opportunity for one's being rejected. Uh, these employers can reject you out of hand because you don't have the knowledge or experience in an industry, um, nor because you aren't already in that industry itself. The difficulty of industry hopping, I believe, cannot be overstated. You are taking an even bigger risk by applying to a job that you are not completely qualified for. If a requirement is a very specific computer program that is only used in a specific industry, yes, the employer has effectively shut out a lot of unqualified applicants, but I believe that they have also effectively shut out a lot of qualified and potential talent with quick learning curves that could possibly make it in that industry. I have made it a practice to apply to some of these jobs anyway, especially if there are one or two qualifications that I don't meet, but the majority of the job sounds like something that I have done or could do in the future, and I let them do the rejecting. I'll take my chances. I'll force their hand. I've had some good success with this method on getting initial interviews. My encouragement is this: if you have the foundations for success in a position, like if you've been in management and you have some sort of sales experience, but you don't meet every single requirement, try it out. Submit that application, see what happens. Sometimes you can get interview experience, which will come in handy later on. This is where I will tell you how I prepare myself for rejection. I spoke earlier about door-to-door sales, cold calling, and auditioning, and it got me to thinking about rejection itself. I like to pose my questions to the salesperson rather as, what is your success rate? I think that is a better story to tell oneself while getting the same numerical result. A success rate of 1% is the same as a rejection rate of 99%, but it's different. It all goes back to the story that we're telling ourselves and others, and I must insist here once more that this story is that we are communicating to others. It's not a false narrative. It's not a noble lie that we are telling ourselves. It's the absolute truth. The closer to truth it is, the more effective it's going to be. When I framed my job searches according to success rates, which I gauged as getting interviews, then the entire process changed for me. I thought it was too obvious of setting the landing of a job as a measure of success. That would be too easy of a measure of success and a very difficult measure to handle if the going got tough. At the end of the job prospecting process, I would only be left with one success by discounting the other smaller potential successes along the way. But getting into interviews allowed me to enjoy an opportunity to, number one, state my case as to why I was the best candidate. It would help me craft better answers to the typical questions asked by human resources and hiring managers. And I could also potentially meet people that could give me much needed feedback along the way or introduce me to others that might lead to a potential job. I could enjoy a successful interview even if I did not land the position. It would be their loss in my mind, and I would also be able to take something applicable away from the interaction while applying it to my next interview. So what are your thoughts regarding framing job searches according to successes versus rejection rates? Do you think it makes a difference? Would you use a different metric to determine your success rate versus mine? Or do you think that landing the job alone is the one true marker of success? When this gets posted, feel free to speak your minds in the comments section down below. Send me a message, send me an email, or give me a thumbs up if you liked what you've seen and heard here. Also, subscribe and ring the bell so you will be notified of new videos as they get posted. Take care, everybody, and I hope to see you next time.